Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bobby Waldron, and in this video we're going to be starting episode 1 of the next step-by-step video build here at Genesis Models, which I'm going to be building Airfix's brand spanking new tool for 2016, the 1/48 scale Gloster Meteor F.8 by Airfix. As I say, brand spanking new tool, so exciting to see how this is going to turn out. It's of a really cool aircraft, and with this kit, what Airfix have done, they have added a lot of cool sort of extra features. You can open up the engine bay, you've got engines in here, open up the nose section, the gun bays. Really does give us the opportunity to sort of step into a bit of scratch building to jazz up all these engines and gun bays and nose section and all these areas to you know, try out, you know, stepping into, as I say, a bit of scratch building. So we're going to be working on opening up those bays and everything. It's going to be the two-tone camo one as well. I do want to, with this build, not be so basic. I'm sort of want to be targeting those intermediate people of you. So, you know, I'm not going to be going off and showing you basic stuff like cutting pieces off sprues and what glues to use and stuff like that. We're sort of just going to, you know, just dive right into you know, those intermediate level kind of stuff. We probably will touch on advanced stuff as well. I'm just saying, you know, we're just going to skip those really sort of basic kind of things. Now, I have already done an inbox review of this kit only a couple of weeks ago, so if you haven't seen it, I'm going to put it in next now. If you haven't seen it, just fast forward past the inbox review. So let's get started with a nice inbox review of this kit, and then we'll just get into some building. Hello there, welcome to Genesis Models. My name is Bobby Waldron, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at Airfix's absolutely new, fantastic Gloster Meteor F8 1/48 scale by Airfix. This is a brand new release, something like, when was it now? I think it was like April 2016. So very new tool, very cool to see. So let's take a look inside. Now, this kit costs about the £32 mark ish, so, you know, an okay fair price actually for what is a jet. But let's have a look at a few of the tiny pieces to start off with. We have all sorts of pieces on here. We have some wheel well detail here, as you can see. We've got some raised rivets and some raised pipes and hoses and that sort of thing. The bottom part of our cockpit area. We've got our ejector seats here, which are actually looking very crisp and very smart. We've got two options here for the ejector seat, which is rather cool, where we can have it with all your harnesses and stuff on, or not, if you want to say put a pilot in or something like that. And then, as you can see, lots of different little pieces going on all around the kit with the wheels and everything. Not hardly a bit of flash on here at all, and I've also noticed that eject pin marks are all in places where you don't mind them being as well, which is rather cool. This kit does have loads of cool options, like having our engines either in and out. Hopefully you can see here, you know, them sort of well detailed. You probably want to spruce them up a little bit more if you did want to sort of have your engines on show, because I would say they're not quite there. They do need need a little bit of help, but still they do make for a good start there. There's some sort of exhaust bits here as well that also go on there. We've got some flaps at the back here, wheel well doors, that kind of thing, although I think those could be actually the panels. Not quite sure, but still, you know, looking rather good. No ejector pin marks inside these panels either, which is also good to see. Then we have some surface detail here with I do believe this is the bottom part of the wing section, and it is typical Airfix type surface detail. We do have that very crisp but very sharp recessed panel line detail, which is potentially a little bit out of scale, a little bit maybe too big. We've got flaps and slats and tail sections here which have all sorts of sort of cool raised rivet detail on there. Very well detailed, actually. Very cool, crisp raised rivets and recessed panel lines where they're due as well. As you can see, they're looking rather cool. We have some internal detail here, which, as you can see, you know, bags of detail going on there, which is rather good for Airfix. And then moving along to the bottom part of our wing section, we have again the same sort of level of detail. Not much in the likes of rivets going on here, admittedly. There is a few here and there, but this particular aircraft could have lots of rivets going on with it. We've got some internal cockpit detail just here as well. As you can see, we've got quite a lot of detail going on inside there with all sorts of raised wires, panels, raised rivets. Here's the opposite side as well, you know, again good detail going on there. We do have wheel well detail, that's just here as well. Again, you know, is actually, you know, there's a fair bit of detail actually for Airfix. I know Airfix is good, you know, but they just sometimes lack, but actually this one is, for out of the box, looking rather good. Then we have our fuselage section, which hopefully you can see. Again, surface detail is pretty much the same as everywhere else on the kit, one or two rivets. Admittedly, here at the front section though, we do have a lot of nice sort of rivet work detail, and here we have a panel removed so that you can sort of have all the MGs on display, and just around the edges we've got this lovely sort of step and a couple of bolt holes and stuff going on in there. Absolutely, you know, really cool detail, and that's on both sides as well. Admittedly, with this kit, I mean, as it does wrap around, you may sort of notice that you know, maybe the recessed panel lines may fade just slightly. Hopefully, as you can see just on this bit here as well, that bit does fade slightly, just only slightly. You may want to come in there with a pea cutter and just give that a slight bit of a scribing just to make sure it can take a wash, but it isn't a common factor on this kit. You know, so yeah, top marks there. And then, as I always dread with Airfix and their canopies, because they can be a bit problematic, with this kit they have got it right. Look at that stunning, crystal clear, absolutely beautiful canopies there going on by Airfix. Absolutely stunning. We've got no cobweb effects or cracks or anything like that. You know, they've got that canopy spot on. Then let's have a look at some other things here. We have our markings, marking callouts here. We've got a camo version with natural metal finish on the underside. We then also have a all-round natural metal finish version as well. So we've got two nice options there, but only two, but still not too bad. You do get also a decal call out. Let's turn it the right way around, telling you where all your little stencils go. Next up we have our decals. Now our decals are looking really stunning. They look like they are cartographer decals. If I just check, because I never, yep, does say on the box there that they are from Cartograph, which are basically the best decals in the world, but they never seem to allow them to seem to put the Cartograph name to the decals. But again, decals, cartographer, they're going to be easily they're easily going to take micro, solid sets, so they should go down really well. No problems with them decals, looking quite stunning. And then we have the instructions, which as always you've got that nice bit of a description about the aircraft itself, and you know, we've got the colour, the whole new colour thing going on as well, where it tells you where the pieces are going. We've got a nice cockpit section here, and that seems to go together sort of pretty standard. And just quickly moving along, you have these really cool options to have your MGs open. You can put all that detail in there. Moving along, I don't know if that's going to be maybe a bit problematic with the whole sort of wheel wells and landing gear detail, sort of all these different pieces coming together. I know sometimes it can sort of slightly make a fit issue, but you might be okay with that. Got a nice bit of exhaust detail, moving through pretty standard as we go through. We've got options to have all sorts of flaps, slats and tail sections and all this kind of stuff, and elevators in whatever sort of positions you want them. We've got our air intakes, you can have them open, closed, so there's actually a lot of options here. Then we have a load more cool options for this kit, where we've actually got, you know, we can have the engines on display, both engines on display. You can even have an engine on its own sort of stand as well, so you can have it outside the aircraft being worked on a stand, which is cool. You can cover them up if you want to, so that just adds to even more. Landing gear up or down, you know, all sorts of stuff. With this kit as well, it will be a tail sitter if you don't put some sort of weight in the cockpit section or the nose section. It says 15 grams, but I would try and just whack as much weight as you can in the kind of the front end of the aircraft. So moving along, that is basically it. So yeah, £32, brand new kit by Airfix. Really, I've got to say, it looks like a stunning kit, and it's of an iconic aircraft. If it goes together well, I mean, you can't really grumble, have any problems with this aircraft. So yeah, it's definitely a big thumbs up and a well recommended kit here at Genesis Models. So hopefully you enjoyed that inbox review, and until next time, my name is Bob Waldron, this is Genesis Models, and I'll see you next time. Right then, moving along with this build, I have just plain and simply glued a few pieces together. We've put down a nice base of black and just painted in a few bits of detail. Really basic stuff, which I sort of want to avoid with this video build. So as we're moving along, I want to show you sort of like a new set of metallic paints by Vallejo, which is their new metal color range. These are really cool because they really give you a good natural metal finish effect. However, they're acrylic based, which is what makes them rather cool, because you know, when it comes to natural metal finishes, we're talking enamels and lacquers and all this kind of stuff. So this is a good new product out there. So we're just going to pour this in, and we can pour it in neat because it is, you know, nicely ready for the airbrush. Right, let's whack down my air pressure, you know, to say just under the 20 psi mark ish. Right, and we're just going to spray inside this gun bay here, which I've already sprayed up black, because as we should know by now, you know, spraying natural metal finishes on black just brings out that natural metal finish a lot nicer and better. And we're just starting off with a nice misty coat, and we do have 2 of these to do. Right, try and be careful not to overspray into, you know, say our cockpit area here, which we should be okay. It does dry rather quickly, and then we can start whacking on those nice light coats now. And as you can see, I mean, this really does have good coverage as a paint. probably one more coat on that now, and that is going to look really good there. So with that, which I'll do later on off camera, just finish off that. We then have our instrument display panel here. Now we're not dealing with photo etch or anything like that. We're dealing with the standard what you get in a kit, the detail that we get on the instrument display panels, which again I've just done some flat painting and spraying on here. Now what I like to do to sort of do all the dials is, you do seem to be getting now you know, you do get these decals of instrument display panels, which we have just here. I don't like to whack on the whole decal because it doesn't seem to be quite right. What I do like are all of these the dials. I like to cut out the dials, right? So I like to just cut it into little sections, right? Just carefully cut out, you know, maybe just a little cluster of dials, right, just like I've just done there. That's a nice little cluster of dials just there, and it just cuts down on the amount of decals that you're going to be putting down, because as you can see, I mean, we've got quite a lot of detail on there, and it's all sorts of raised and recessed detail, so putting one big decal on there is going to make it harder to sort of get the decal to conform to all the detail that we've got on there. But if we cut it up into little sections, it just makes it easier for the decals to conform to all those bits of detail on the instrument display panel. So I'm just going to cut out all these little sections of dials out on here. So there's a natural metal finish from our Vallejo, what was it, the metal colour range. As you can see, it looks really nice and natural metal finishing, not bad for a acrylic based paint. So I'll leave them to dry for one side. I then have our decals right here. I've cut them all off and I've just put them in some nice warm water just off camera, so these are all ready to go down onto our instrument display panel just here. Now what I'm going to use for this, we know that our decals are from Cartograph, so we know Cartograph work absolutely beautiful with micro sol and set. Now this is a little bit more advanced because I want to get it to conform to all this detail that's on our instrument display panel, which is lots of raised and recessed areas. So I'm not going to come in with the usual micro set. I just want to get straight in there with something nice and strong, because we want it to really start to conform to all these raised and recessed areas. So I like to come along and use the same paintbrush that I use for all my decaling, a nice sort of old but good paintbrush. And what I'm going to do with our first decal, right, I'm going to actually paint on some of this micro sol. Let's pick this area here. Right, let's paint some of it on straight away. So when we put the decal on top of here, it's going to have micro sol underneath the decal film, which will help it conform and sort of start to wrinkle up and conform all around everything, right? And then I'm just going to get our decal off the film, right, and we're just going to now lay this on, right, and then I'm going to quickly put some micro sol straight on that nice big blob of it, and then using some tweezers or a pin, we're just going to very quickly, right, lay that into the right position. Now I say very quickly because we're using micro sol, and micro sol doesn't take too long to start wrinkling up these decals. As I say, this is a bit more of an advanced sort of placement of decals because we're coming in with micro sol so aggressively. It's time is of the essence. You really need to quickly get that in position and then leave it, because it will start to wrinkle up, and if you're not careful, you could smudge the decal. The the decal could fold in on itself and do all sort of horrible things that you don't want to do and ruin your decals. So you've got to be quick, you've got to be careful, and you know, probably be a bit more competent with decaling, I suppose, in a way. But that is what we're going to do all over our instrument display panel.